Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Light back with another YouTube video, and in today's video we're gonna be doing a bit of a question type video in the sense of how do I select the comics I want to review. And also I'm gonna do this as a bit of a bonus question. I know that's gonna be the title of this video, I know that, but it's also gonna be another bonus kind of question, is like how do I get my comics. I do plan on making a video of my comic collection and stuff like that. I do plan on doing that. It's just right now it's the place where I plan to record is a bit of a mess right now, so that's gotta wait a little bit. But I do plan on making that hopefully soon. Uh, but yeah, I just felt like answering this kind of thing, just in case somebody's curious of what happens and whatnot. Uh, or maybe down the line somebody has this question, I just say, go to that video, or I'll give you the link, or whatever it is. Uh, but anyways, let's answer the question. Let's go. Let's get to the question here. So yeah, how do I pick the comics I review? So as you guys know, I'm a huge comic book fan. I mean, I like reading comics and everything. I consider it a big hobby of mine. Uh, and the answer to that is honestly, whatever's available to me, I pretty much read. And honestly, there's certain comics where I don't really like. There's certain comics that I do like, or there's certain comics where it's just like this is like a critical, like this is like a highly renowned comic, so I guess I'll review it. Or there's the occasional comic where I hate it so much that I gotta say how much I hate it on a review, or I try to warn people not to get it or whatnot. So yeah, that's one thing. And also, the image in the background, I just put some random image, which is of the Watchmen, even though this really has nothing to do with the Watchmen. So yeah, I don't know why I did that, but whatever. Uh, so yeah, I'll list some examples for some for you guys. For example, like I would pick up something like the Watchmen. Let's go with the Watchmen. Now, the Watchmen is something I enjoy and is also highly renowned, and a lot of people know it. Uh, it's pretty big in comic community. So that would be something I would review because it's available to me, and it checks a bunch of boxes basically. Now, there's another comic. Let me give you an example. The Amazing Spider-Man: Absolute Carnage. That's a comic book I have, and it's basically like a tie-in story to Absolute Carnage. Somewhat. It's kind of a tie-in story. Now that's a story I have no problems with. I think it's alright comic. I mean, it's not the best or anything like that. Is it meant to be the best? No. So that's one thing. Uh, but do I like it? Yeah, it's a good comic and stuff like that. But that's like one of the comics where it's just like there's no. It's kind of pointless to review. Honestly, it's pointless to be taking up a video spot unless I really like it. It's just kind of pointless to be doing a video on that. I don't think I've done a video. Yeah, I haven't done a video on that, and I don't really ever intend to. Uh, so that's just something like that, where I wouldn't really do something like that or whatnot. Uh, but again, something like that I hate, like with a like I really don't like. A good example of that would be actually there isn't really a good example for that. Honestly, I haven't come across something that I really hate. Uh, Something that I could tell I could hate, for example, or it gets a lot of bad flack or whatever in the comics community. I tend to just stay away from. Uh, I'll read it eventually, but honestly, I just stay away. Mainly go for stuff that I actually really like. So yeah, that's just one thing with me. I tend to usually read stuff that I think is cool, or either I just think it has a lot of recognition in the comic community or something like that. That's one thing. In terms of reviews, like what I do pretty much is honestly I used to like kind of script it a little bit, but I feel like it's just not very good in a sense. Slash, I don't have that much time. So usually what I do honestly is I kind of like wing it a little bit in the sense, but I do write down like key points that I think is important. For example, if I'm reading an over 400 page comic, I'm gonna put some key points and stuff like that and just read off that But I mean, if I'm going off of like 100-page comic or something like that, I'm just gonna really talk about stuff that I actually liked or disliked from the comic and the reasons why. I also like to give like kind of a little bit of recommendations, stuff like that. I think I'm gonna try and maybe start up some video type, different type of video where I like basically just give out recommendations. Like say, uh, if you like Spider-Man, read this or whatever like that, something like that. That's what I'm thinking of my maybe doing. Like a whole recommendation video, maybe every few months, I would say, or something like that, because I'm always reading new comics all the time. Uh, like just look at this past month, past month, I've read like maybe 10 graphic novels, I would say, uh, which is important, and which leads me to my next question, which is how do I read my comics? Now I have a few different ways of reading comics, or how I get my comics at least. So right now, one of my ways is literally just buying the comic and having it in like a real copy of it. You'll see a lot of videos. I mean, yeah, videos of when I'm reviewing something that I usually have the comic as like a hard copy. Uh, I do like having hard copies of the comics and stuff like that because it's fun always to know. Yeah, it's right there. I can just pick it up and read it. I don't really need anything unless maybe it's like I'm out of my house or something like that. That's one thing. But I mean, for the most part, I could just pick it up, read it, and it's cool. I usually for that, usually I pick up stuff that are either on clearance, I think look cool, or I've read before that I just think it's such a good story that I need to have it, or I think it's a very good story, something like that. Like a keen example of that would probably be like Absolute Carnage. Like I had read it the other way, which I'll talk about just now, and I just bought it on hard copy because why not? It was a pretty good comic. It was also on clearance too, so that was good too. Uh, or on sale. I don't know why I keep saying clearance, but I mean on sale because it's not like it's clearing out or something like they stop printing it or something like that. Uh, or they want to get rid of it or something. It's on sale. That's what I meant. Uh, Now this leads me to my second way, which is reading them digitally. Now, what I mean, I can recommend a few different not sites, different places. Personally, for me, I currently right now use Marvel Unlimited, or I don't use it right now just because I'll speak about that after. But Marvel Unlimited, there's also Kindle, which is like something with Amazon, which is pretty good. That's pretty good if you want to read. You don't get loads of comics. Actually, you do, but I mean, it depends. Like, you can't get everything you want. There's, I think it's called DC Infinite, which is the thing where you can read DC comics. Uh, and there's also like Comixology as well, where you can read a bunch of comics on there as well. I think that's another thing by Amazon too. I'm not too sure. But personally, right now, like last month, I recently went on Marvel Unlimited and I just read a whole bunch of comics on there, what I wanted to read, and I just canceled my membership just because I feel like, this is me personally. I mean, this is not the same for everybody, but I just like to use one method at a time, or potentially two methods when you hear my third method. Uh, so yeah, that's one thing. And yeah, of course you can use the other places I just mentioned as well, because they're all good places and stuff. I mean, the downside is that you have to like pay a membership, and you also don't have these comics at all. Like, say, for example, you're reading a good comic and the Wi-Fi goes out, you can't really read it unless you download it, which that's another thing. Or perhaps like you don't have enough money to be paying so much for the subscriptions or whatever. That's another reason too. So yeah. Uh, but yeah, that's basically like the second method. Now the third one is literally if you have a public library, or some kind of like a place where you can borrow stuff, like borrow books and stuff. I highly recommend checking out the library too. Personally, I go to my local library and I get a bunch. That's how I get a bunch of comics and stuff like that. Uh, yeah, so that's another thing too. You can get a bunch of comics there as well. Uh, Especially that's good. That's a very good method if you don't have really like a lot of money to be spending on things. It's most likely completely free. Like that's completely free for me. But of course, like I don't know exactly where everybody's from and stuff like that. Whoever's watching this video, so maybe it has potential of not being free, but I mean for the most part it's free. I mean if you go to school, uh, usually there's libraries there and you can use that, or there's like public libraries in your respective city or state. I don't even think that's I don't know. Whatever it is. But yeah. I believe for the most part, most people. I'm just gonna say in North America. Uh, Usually have libraries in their cities and stuff like that. Unless you, I don't know about like small towns and stuff like that. That's another thing. Not too sure about that. But yeah, there's different places you can go to a library and get comic books and stuff like that for completely free for the most part. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. How I get my comics, I guess, or how I read my comics. I'm not gonna say get, because not everything is getting. Because again, with the library, it's not you don't keep it. You just read it. So yeah, that's how I could pretty much read the comics. I do plan on making like hard copy owned collection of comic books. I hopefully want to do it soon, where I just go through every kind of comic book and show you guys what I have. Uh, but anyways, that's pretty much it though. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.